Hey, this is Noah Van Sciver, author of Joseph Smith and the Mormons, Beat It Rufus, Fonte Bukowski, and The Mess from Fantagraphics Books, and you're listening to 11 O'Clock Comics.
I heard part of the ceiling in that one. So it's awesome.
What's awesome is that it's still daylight in my office here, so I don't even have the lamp on yet, and it feels weird because I don't usually record without having the lamp on.
Wow.
Yeah.
You heard it here,
the science.
Folks. Science. Welcome, everyone, to 11 O'Clock Comics 1041, and I am Vince B.
You are Vince B. Welcome back, Vince. Great to have you here. I am David A. Price.
Indeed you are, David. Welcome, and of course, I am Admiral Bill Adama.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, who the hell would want to be Teddy Roosevelt?
Wouldn't you much rather be Admiral Adama? I would rather be.
Yes.
Yeah, but the worst, I think, is Lyndon B. Johnson. I would not want to be
LBJ,
yeah. But you're not. You're decent mood. Everybody together again here, thanks to cheapgraphicnovels.com. cheapgraphicnovels.com. You say you want an omnibus edition? Who doesn't, right? Or an OGN, or a trade paperback collection, or an epic, or DC's finest, or an art book, or manga. So there's only one place to go, and that's cheapgraphicnovels.com. Guaranteed, I guarantee it, that they would have the lowest prices ever. And if that wasn't enough, there's the famous Nick and Dead sale. There's the famous rotating sales that are dependent upon what holiday is happening. And on top of all that, great shipping and packing, are the list of specials. And Dap is going to tell you about a few of them.
Yes, and literally a few, because this week was not a large week. Normally, you get up to, between various covers, maybe up to close to 100 new releases, or at least on the new release page over at CGN. This week, there was just over 50. So it was all about quality this week and not quantity. But
wow.
We have what was posted on the Slack, but for us, for the listeners, for you guys, a few that I've selected include 1984, the graphic novel hardcover for $22.49. In 1984, London is a grim city in the totalitarian state of Oceania, where Big Brother is always watching you, and the thought police can practically read your mind. Winston Smith is a man in grave danger for the simple reason that his memory still functions. Drawn into a forbidden love affair, Winston finds the courage to join a secret revolutionary organization called the Brotherhood, dedicated to the destruction of the party. Together with his beloved Julia, he hazards his life in a deadly match against the powers that be. With evocative, immersive art from Fado Nesti, this vision of George Orwell's dystopian masterpiece provides a new perspective for longtime fans, but is also an accessible entry point for young readers and adults who have yet to discover the iconic story that is still so relevant today. Truer words. And there's also a Nick and Dent version for $14.99. We also have George Perez's The New Teen Titans Artist Edition hardcover. There's a regular and a direct market edition, $100. $104.99. George Perez's The New Teen Titans Artist Edition gives a unique view into how the Teen Titans came to be, featuring a large selection of the artist's original art, including beautiful covers and a curated selection of pages from issues 1 through 40 of the New Teen Titans, a heartfelt introduction by Perez's longtime collaborator and New Teen Titans co-creator Marv Wolfman, headlines this stunning 12 by 17-inch hardcover edition. And finally, Making Comics trade paperback for $21.74. Scott McCloud tore down the wall between high and low culture in 1993 with Understanding Comics, a massive comic book about comics, linking the medium to such diverse fields as media theory, movie criticism, and web design. In Reinventing Comics, McCloud took this to the next level, charting 12 different revolutions in how comics are generated, read, and perceived today. Now, in Making Comics, McCloud focuses his analysis on the art form itself, exploring the creation of comics from the broadcast principles to the sharpest details, like how to accentuate a character's facial muscles in order to form the emotion of disgust rather than the emotion of surprise. And he does all of this in his inimitable voice and through his cartoon stand-in narrator, mixing dry humor and legitimate instruction. McCloud shows his reader how to master the human condition through word and image in a brilliantly minimalistic way. Both comic devotees and the uninitiated will marvel at this journey into a once underappreciated art form. Those are your specials for this week.
Wow. There you go. cheapgraphicnovels.com. I have a bit of commentary
Okay.
before we move on. New Teen Titans, what is that? Anyway, I think that Max is still discounting the hell out of these omnibus editions, but I think $150, $175 for an omnibus edition is too much.
That is insane. Who's charging $175 for an omnibus?
We paid $104 for the Superman Triangle Era Volume 3. Do the math.
Right, but I believe that's because it's more than the previous two versions.
Right. Well, slim it down. Do a part 1 and part 2. Like $150, $175 for an omnibus edition is crazy to me. I think it's just silly, and that's just not point the finger like Jason. The Epic collections are ridiculously priced. Like, but we're still getting 40-50% off with Max. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the prices
from publishers,
of these things,
yes,
are getting crazy.
Agreed.
I mean, isn't that that's just the nature? I mean, we're just in a world where prices are crazy. I mean,
I guess.
We've talked about this before. I mean, G.I. Joe Classifieds, like the basic single figure, like with no bells and whistles, is $28 now. It's the baseline price.
It's crazy. Yeah, McFarlane
the San Diego exclusive is like is $60 for a figure, dude. Like,
it's nuts. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think
Todd's doing the same thing. Todd's prices are insane.
And it's because their prices are insane. Like all the input prices are crazy and shipping's crazy, and man, it's inflate. We were spoiled. We spent 25 years, give or take, of our lives, much of our adult lives, not really feeling inflation. And
I know
we're living in a world of inflation.
It's cheaper. Well, it's not, but in some cases, it's cheaper to buy the original issues than it is to buy the omnibus edition. Like,
in some cases,
you can get X of Swords for
like anything new, like or like Excalibur Volume 3, like you could bin dive, like you don't need the, you know what I'm saying,
but,
like whatever.
Right,
like,
the vintage stuff is silly. The couple hundreds and hundreds of dollars per issue. That's not what I'm saying. But what I guess what I am saying is that prices are crazy. And
I wonder if Volume 3 is because it includes the death of Superman, and there wasn't a decent cutoff point between the third and fourth volume.
I don't know. I whatever. It's.
But no, you're not wrong. That it's still it's stupid for. I mean, it's. And I mean, I'm not going to say it's price gouging or anything like that. I mean, obviously they know we want this. We're collecting these books because either for archival purposes or because it's a hell of a lot easier than waiting to hit up a con to hit the back issue.
It is,
but
yeah.
It's still expensive as hell.
Yeah, for the most part, the Death of Superman goes for about $2 to $5 an issue. There's some variations in there, but for the most part, it would be cheaper I'm thinking, to buy the original issues than it would be to spend on the omnibus, unless, of course, like you said, you don't have a convention, because there's the entrance fee, there's the hotel fee, blah blah blah, all that. So, in other words, shut up, Vince. What are you drinking?
That's the question.
That's the question. I am trying something new. It's a Cabernet Sauvignon from 2023, made with organic grapes, and it is vinted by Bonterra, which means good earth.
Okay.
And
my surname, Bonavoya, means goodwill.
It does.
And join us on our journey to pave the way for the wine industry and society while remaining true to our name, the Good Earth. It is pretty damn good. There's no number on it, unfortunately. But there is a cardinal. It looks like a cardinal perched atop a plant. It's good. It's real good. And I thought it apropos to have a new wine.
Love it.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I too am drinking a new to me wine. It's one of many bottles that we ordered when we were in Spain visiting Jackson last year, and we went to the wine region there for a few days. It is from a town called Alvala, but it's part of the Rioja region, which is like their Napa. It is called the vineyard is Artadi, Artadai, and it's Valdejines. That's the name of this one. It is a red. It's effectively a Tempranillo from Rioja, which is pretty much my favorite type of wine these days. Don't take my word for it, Vince. I'm going to tell you what Mr. James Suckling had to say about it. Okay, a nice lift of black pepper to red cherries, hibiscus, mineral, and oyster shells, scented with more width and depth on the nose. Chalky rounding of tannins dissipate in a concentrated medium to full body palate. Long, beautiful finish to close. So there you go. It's a wonderful wine. We had some at dinner, and I carried the rest of the bottle up here for the show. So.
Sounds great.
I
wanted to get wine, but it's just too freaking hot to even just take a walk.
It is mad
to
hot,
the liquor store. So instead, I just grabbed a big ass board cube and splashed a little bit of Blanton's over it, so it'll melt, and I'll mostly just have kind of like a bourbon flavored water. But I went with the Blanton's, of course, because it's within reach, and season 2 of X-Men 97 has started. So again, shout out to Rogue and Interhuman Kevin for this beautiful bottle. But yeah, we can get right into it.
Yeah, we have to start on a somber note. Obviously, this is never easy, and I think probably one of the worst things of doing the show for as long as we've done is that the more years you live and the more years you do something, the more people you know, and unfortunately, life takes turns, right, that aren't always the way we want them to go. And we unfortunately lost one of our longtime friends and patrons to a multi-year battle with cancer this week, Mr. KJ Eldridge. So I'm sure we've mentioned him on the show before. I think we all had the great pleasure of meeting him finally a few years ago at Heroes.
Was it Heroes or was it Emerald City that we first met him?
I don't remember seeing him being in Emerald City.
I
think it was. I think it was. Yeah.
I do. Too.
Oh, was he in Emerald City?
Yeah, I think.
Well, he was in Heroes as well. I know.
Yes. No, that's where we hung out.
That's neither here nor there. The point is, we had the good fortune to get to meet him a few times, but he kind of, I mean, like you, Vince, he had had a bout of cancer. He had fought it successfully, fought it off. And when we got to know him, in earnest, he was, in remission and living a good life. And then, obviously, I probably about a year and a half ago, he had a relapse, and was very public about it. And the thing about him is, I mean, dude just kept his spirits like incredibly high. I mean, he was probably most active on our community in the last few years, like in the book club, which is the thing that none of us participate in too much, but many of our patrons are very, very passionate about it, and he was there even up until a few weeks ago. He came to our show because he was an independent creator, made his own comics, was kind enough to share them with us over the years, I guess most recently was working for the last few years on a book called Tree Flower. And we have an area in our Slack where creators can share their work, and he would just regularly share pages from the book. Really took us on the journey there. But he created a lot of stuff as a writer and an artist. He did The Last Night's Rays of Ron. He did Wolvern, Argonautica. And he was just a dude that was all smiles, super sweet, right? Like, again, like many of our supporters, like almost like insanely nice to us and kind to us. He did some great art for us over the years, and it's a tragedy on multiple fronts. Not the least of which is that he was a very young dude. He was 45 years old, and he is leaving behind a beautiful wife and 3 kids, a son and 2 daughters. And I mean, there's no silver lining in a thing like this. I guess in a sort of a cosmic way, I take some solace. Very small solace, but some solace in the fact that aside from comics, the thing he was most passionate about was the New York Knicks. He's actually from the South, but he actually had a podcast called Southern Hicks Talking Knicks, because he was born in New York but lived most of his life in the South, and just stayed absolutely just ravenously passionate about the Knicks. And we would talk over the years about I would give him shit because the Knicks sucked, and he would give me shit because my team sucked, and he was just always all smiles about it, and again, as I think many of our listeners know, that the Knicks ended a 53-year drought and won the title a few weeks ago. So it does, if there are such things as sort of cosmic forces, it's. I'm glad the cosmic forces let him, see his beloved, passionate team get the championship before he moved on. But again, that's a small solace for sure. So yeah, man. I mean, tip our cap to him, and it's. I'm waiting to hear from his family, because obviously we're not a priority, nor should we be, just in terms of if there's any kind of way that we all could help if people are able. I have no idea if and when that will be, but as soon as we or any of our friends that know him as well, hear of a way that we can support him, we'll be back, on our channels in here on the show to let people know that. But I did ask our patrons who, if they had anything they wanted to share about him, and I'm just going to read a few off. But before I do that, do you guys want to chime in, or do you want me to go ahead and read off what the folks have to say?
I think, I almost didn't want to do this episode.
Yeah, I'm sure it's
because
hard to do.
Because I'm the one who is seen as, not to make it about me, because it's not, but I'm the one who's seen as the hard ass, unfeeling, asshat, when the truth of the matter is anything but. I feel too much. And my conclusion was to run away from it. And that's not what KJ would do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, I think he was the Archie Goodwin of the Slack, where I've not heard a single person who didn't feel like he was the shit. You know, that he was a good guy, or a great artist, or a nice friend, or and any combination of all of them. I am. It's hard. I think Jefferson said it the best, that uh, we're not here forever, and we should take solace in the fact that, one, we knew him, two, he brightened our world, and three, I know you would feel differently, but I think that someday we'll see him again.
I mean, I wish I thought that. I think that's beautiful. Yeah. I mean, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah. I will always remember his smile, and just how his face
smile,
would light up when he's around people
man. Beautiful,
that he
beautiful,
truly cares and loves. It's I mean, yes, insanely talented, a active member on the Slack, loved by everybody there. It's a massive gut punch. All the other words are just feel so cheap and hollow that when you say he'll be sorely missed, we are here for a good time, not a long time, and and when it does hurt as much as it hurts, because we care so much.
Yeah.
If we didn't feel this, then we'd just shrug off and be okay, well, all right, and then just go about our lives. But we feel a certain kind of way because he felt a certain kind of way about the people he cared about, and it's all
right.
The fact that I mean it is one of those like kind of Disney moments where the Knicks won a few weeks ago, and I'm reminded of other instances where something happens, but only after an event that causes someone else to smile, and it's almost poetic in that regard. But it hurts. It's gonna hurt, and time will heal. But I'm obviously raising my glass to KJ. I'm thankful for all his contributions, his drawings, and I never beat another one like him. But I'm glad that he did have the impact with everybody around him and on the Slack.
Sure. Yeah.
Well said.
Like you said, there is a penance, a payment to be made. So the Knicks won. Like, I'm not saying that he died because the Knicks won.
No, of course.
But the scales have been balanced, and it sucks. Seeing his picture is difficult. It's hard. Yeah. But again, Dap and Jason said better than I could that we'll miss you.
Yeah, and so let me just again, because these people were kind enough to share their thoughts, I want to just get them out here too as well. Ray Lowell said, "Hey, regarding KJ, I just want to reiterate how much he inspired me on the days I didn't want to sit at the drawing board. The dude was a machine, always grinding, making art. His passion for it was unbelievable. We didn't talk a lot, but when we did, it was over a love of making art. He was the kind of dude that propped me up, even though what he was going through was way worse. Simply amazing." Kevin Quass said, KJ and I got to know each other at Heroes the first year after the pandemic, and I purchased his novel along with a group of us near the end of the con. I kept in touch, but didn't read his novel that year. I did a pre-show commission of Hawkeye the next year, and he did a black and white inked Hawkeye, but was not confident in his color skills, so he didn't color it. I tried to get Laura Martin to color it at the con, but she put it off, so it didn't happen. Before the next year, I got it colored by Laura Martin, and Tim Meekins did 2 versions as well, with one of them being green. I had Laura present him one of her colored versions. KJ seemed over the moon. I also read his novel that year, and he was so thrilled to discuss it with me. He also joined the book club. After that, KJ was a genuine sweetheart. We were planning to get together to talk about his novel again as he was working on the sequel. So sad that we couldn't make that happen. Hold on one second. Drummond. KJ knew what was best in life. He reminded me on the daily that people, places, and things that bring us joy are all around us, just begging to be seen. It didn't matter if he was glowing with radiation or getting fluid drained from his abdomen. For Kirby, living meant having more important things to fix on than to fight. I miss him already. And then, last but not least, Aisha popped in and said, "Re KJ, he was genuinely one of the most positive people I've ever met. He was a joy to talk to in the book club, and he was very supportive and inspirational when I was going through my own health issues. KJ is one of those rare people who truly left this place better than he found it, and I'm so thankful to have been in his orbit for a little while." So there you go. So, yeah, man, I mean, raise a glass. We love him. We miss him. And, most importantly, I really hope that his wife and family get everything they need to get through this, because it's going to, obviously very tough. So, yeah. So cheers. Cheers, KJ.
Cheers, my brother.
Cheers. There you go. That's hard. It's hard.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Well, we are gathered here today to talk comics as well.
We are. As he would want us to. So
right.
It's always a hard segue, but I know that for sure, just like Dan T last year, he would want us to jump in and
you're screwed if you do, and you're damned if you don't.
Sure.
So
of course.
Let's talk comics.
Let's do it. Why don't we talk about a comic that I know he was a big fan of?
Okay.
How's that?
All right.
So you dudes may remember, although I don't think you ever read them, but way back in 2017, a young woman by the name of Lorena Alvarez popped onto the scene with a book called Nightlights, and it was by Flying Eye Books. I think Esmond put me on it at the time because he was working with them at the time. What was there? I can't remember what they were called before Flying Eye.
No Brow.
Thank you. No,
yes.
Yeah. This was No Brow. That now they're called Flying Eye. But I Sandy, and she was very creative, a daydreamer, and the book was all about what was going on in her head and her thoughts. And I raved about it at the time. And then 2 years later, in 2019, she came out with a second volume called Hecate, which was the continuing adventures of Sandy in a totally different vibe this time. And I love that as well. And then I wasn't really sure if that was that. But lo and behold, I saw a solicit a few months back for a new collection, the Nightlights collection. And it was a beautiful oversized hardcover. So even though I had the two original books, I thought, I definitely want this on my shelf. But it got even better because the collection I'm speaking about actually has volumes 1, 2, and a brand new third and final volume called Soon. So this book, for those that maybe vaguely remember me talking about Lorena's work but never dove in, now's your chance because this is the way to do it. This is a fantastic oversized hardcover that's only $30 cover price. So what are we talking, like $22-23 for our buddy Max? And it's in honor of the 10th anniversary of the first installment. But I thought the third installment Soon was also absolutely beautiful. Her artwork is, I think it's fair to say it's inspired by like European, like children's illustration. Like it's these really like ethereal, bright, big-eyed, characters and just incredible color work. The fact that all the books are about a little girl's imagination give Lorena just carte blanche to draw magnificently wild things, and I just am absolutely captivated by the art. But the stories all have heart, and each one has its own complete different vibe. The first one was essentially she was daydreaming in school, and she meets a new friend, but the friend turns out to be an evil spirit who basically lives off of the negative energy, like the bad dreams of children. And Sandy tricks the spirit into leaving her alone by asking her to recite pi, and that she can't bother her until she's done. And of course, for you math nerds out there, pi is infinite. So and I just thought that was so clever, right? To have like a little girl like get out of, an evil spirit by math. Like that just seems so, just like so pro positive about like young girls, and it just felt like right, especially timely, and it just like was really really clever way to tie up this otherwise fantastical story. And then the second book, Hecate, was about, she takes a field trip, but like she goes wandering off because again she's kind of scatterbrained, and she meets this turtle, and the turtle's kind of like a spiritual embodiment of ideas, and there's been evil spirits mainly manifested in the form of giant like anthropomorphic crows that have essentially stolen information and ideas and knowledge, and so she helps the turtle basically get it all back and restore order to the world. And then Sune, the new volume, is basically she is walking through a forest and she meets nymphs, like flower people, and gets involved with them battling some ancient spirits of the forest. And like I said, each one is completely distinct in its approach and its issue. The only real commonality is it's about Sandy and her imagination and her ability to use her imagination to get out of these harrowing situations. And I just adore it, and I know KJ was a fan of it as well. That's why I wanted to lead with it. But so I just highly, highly recommend to anyone. It is an all ages book. I know we talk about everything from porn comics on here to everything else, but this is one of those rare instances where you absolutely can buy this on our recommendation and share it with anybody in your family. I don't think there's anybody, other than unless they're like so young that they might get scared of it. But beyond that, I think like anybody, let's say like eight and up, would adore this. And I just can't recommend it enough. So do check out Nightlights, the new 10-year anniversary collection by Flying Eye.
How about that?
Love it.
I had, you're going to say I don't pay attention to you. But
no, you do most of the time. Some of the
time. Most of the time.
I don't know.
Yeah. It does sound good. It does sound good.
Really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's an art. The art alone is just incredible. I mean, there's not a ton of words in these books. I mean, it's really. I mean, like this is where you get that. We've talked about this many times with yours. Like it is as much an illustrated storybook as it is a comic, but I think it leans more comic. Not only because it's published through a comic publisher, but there's so few words that it really is more of a comic,
Right.
Whereas a storybook would be like, a stream of words and then a beautiful illustration. So, but either way, it's fantastic and anybody can enjoy it. At least unless you have a cold concrete heart.
Not I.
No.
Said the Tic Tac Man. Yeah. I should absolutely hate this book. I know I'm going to be called a hypocrite because this book goes against everything that I've been telling y'all for 16 plus years. It's entirely, it looks to me to be entirely digital. That is a bad thing. There is a lot of cut and paste. There is a lot of diddling with digital textures. Also, there is a lot of repeated panels, which is a no-no.
I was saying, these are all things Vince hates.
Yes, it has. There's a lot of symmetry in it, and for the most part, I loathe symmetry.
So someone hasn't been reading Scott McCloud's books then.
Symmetry is weak and lazy and uninspired. But
unless it's Watchmen.
Again, unless it's Watchmen. But this thing is written by, conceived by Jordan Ball and GMB Chomichuk. That's how I would pronounce his last name. Chomichuk. Okay. Lettered by Lyndon Redet. Yeah, the mouth is just not working. lettering by Lyndon Ridchenko, and it's published by Image. It's called The Eye Collector.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I see Dap has read it.
Yeah, I read it.
But for the most part, it's the story of the Apollo 10 mission, in which there is a great reference to Charles Schultz, because the the command module was called Charlie Brown, and the lunar module was called Snoopy. So there's a Peanuts reference in there. But for the most part, it is the story of Tom Stafford, John Young, and Eugene Cernan, who tested out the Apollo machinery before Apollo 11 could actually land on the moon. They did not land on the moon. They orbited the satellite, and they made sure all of the things were working, and then, in theory, they would come back. Where this deviates from the story that we all know is that on the moon lives a man. It is the man in the moon. And like I said, a lot of collage work where the eye of, I think it's Stafford, but it's not explicit which one it is. But Stafford was the golden child of this mission, so I'm assuming that it is he, where he has his. I'm going to spoil it because it's the first issue, and he has his eye replaced by the man on the moon, who takes his eye out, and I'm guessing replaces Stafford's eye in the hopes of spying on humanity. Because there's one point where the astronaut says, "Oh my God," and the man on the moon says, "Isn't that cute? You solve gods. That's so nice." But long story short, I should hate this book. I really should. Like I said, it has everything that I dislike about comics, but it's also magical. I must have read the thing 5 times. It's not if we're going word count, it's not a long read. There's it's not a Chris Claremont X-Men issue, whereas the dialogue is minimal at best. The panels are big and widescreen, but it's got this thing about it that is perfectly. I never use this word, and I'm going to use it right now. It's adorable. It's really adorable. It is, but it when I call it a great comic, yes, it must be, because it stuck with me. The Man in the Moon is the creepiest motherfucker you'll see this week. It's silly. There's something very, very magical about this issue, where I'm using the word magical in the sense that it stays with me. It'll stay with you after you've read it, but I'm also using it with the K, magical, in the sense that there's something at work here that I don't understand, and that I don't don't know whether it's because of what happened this week, or maybe I'm relaxing my standards. I don't know, but
Getting soft in old age.
I thought it was wonderful. And again, I should hate it, but I don't. Like, there's digital textures in it. Oh, please, shoot me in the head. Digital textures, really? But I loved it. I'm not going to cut any corners and tell you anything that is not true. I loved it. The eye collector
makes them smile.
Yeah, Dab absolutely hated it.
Did I?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm asking you a question.
I mean, well, shout out to Canada, because the creators would like to acknowledge the generous support of the Winnipeg Arts Council with funding from the City of Winnipeg, the Manitoba Arts Council, and the Canada Council for the Arts. So shout out to everybody involved in this thing. It is, I didn't read it 5 times, but I did do a second pass through after I read it.
Yeah. But you're like, did I just read that? What the hell did I just read?
It's similar. It's similar to how I feel, to a degree, about Department of Truth, where I feel it's the art that has me turning the page. That's what's got me captivated. I'm looking in that regard at Simmons' art, and even though Tynion is doing a wonderful thing creating that world, the freakiness of Martin's work is kind of what always has me going back to it. Here, it's very similar, where I cannot, no pun intended, I cannot take my eyes off the eye collector. This thing, dude, is freaky as hell. Yes, Vince is right. The Man in the Moon is not. You close your eyes and you still see it. It's freaky, and I don't. It's, at least it's not a silverfish. It's just one of those things where I can't. I
hate them.
I don't know what it is, because I mean, there are a couple pages where there's absolutely no word balloons, and the word balloons are huge, and that's probably because this creature has like this booming voice, and it wants to be heard. But as I was reading it, and or looking at it, I'm noticing some of the panels, like where he's asking, what did you do, what you wanted, what you want to return a hero, like that's all. That's just, aside from the creature, the Man in the Moon, like there's like the astronaut doesn't change. So I'm just thinking like, oh, Vince absolutely loved this book because it's nothing but cut and paste. But there's even if I want to say like there's shortcuts, I turn the page and then there's like there's blueprints and there's schematics, and there may not be
not done by the artist. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And there's not exactly, it's Byrne-esque in some places, because they're in space, but there's also there are a lot of panels where it's just white behind the person talking. So it's not, there was skill involved in putting this work on the page. I'm not saying it took, probably, took 5 minutes to cobble all this together like it's a science project, but there's a reason for it. But it's just, it's unlike anything I've read in a minute. And I'm not upset about that. I will be back for the next issue because I got to figure out what the fuck I just read. But it's insane. I mean, everything that's already said about the textures, about the effects, about the manipulation. I mean, there were times where I was rubbing my eyes because I thought there was something, like I wasn't, something was blurry and it was my fault. But no, it's exactly what's on the page, or if you're reading the PDF preview, it's on the screen. But I don't know what to make of this yet. I don't know if like in 3 years it's going to be like, a cult classic, or hey, remember the Eye Collector? Like, people might ever think about like Frontiersman or something like that. It's just one of those things where I'm just, it's an image book. I can't really see anybody else kind of publishing this. It's unique. and it came out of left field. I wasn't expecting it. Like I said, I saw it on Vince's list. I figured, okay, if it's something we could probably just discuss briefly. But yeah, I read it and I was just like, okay, I gotta. I took a walk around the building upstairs and then I came back to my desk and on my lunch break and read it again, and I was like, yeah, this is I'm I don't know. I don't know yet. I need a minute.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's not the only first issue that that I'm not going to say this wasn't lacking, and neither was the other first issue. But the other first issue I'll talk about later was just like it could have been, and I was looking forward to it. So I'm not saying this pains me to say this. It almost felt like a Free Comic Book Day issue. It was a setup issue. It could have done more, I think, to set things up, but obviously I'm coming back for more, and I'm doing the same thing with the Eye Collector because I have to find out what the hell it is that I read.
Yeah. I don't know if you noticed this or not, but the lunar orbiter looks like an eye at one point, where there's a schematic that lists part of the interior of the module, but it's done from the top down, and it looks like an eye. Like, stop. You're freaking me out. Like, what are you doing? And the affected type it should bother me. It should. I should just have closed the cover and just stop it. Read something else. But I did
some kind of way. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's something very unique about this book. It almost feels like a floating world book, or it does not feel like an image title to me. The colors are limited. I think they're just blue and green, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's mostly. Yeah. They're all hues of greens and blues.
It's silly. Nothing we can say can prepare you for this. So, if you have an extra couple of bucks, buy the first issue. I guarantee. Well, it's silly for me to say, but I'm guessing that one read would not be enough for you.
Eyecollector.ca is the website if you want more information. But yeah, and also what's weird, not that it shouldn't be weird in this day and age, but it is interesting to me that on the cover the credits list writer, letterer, then artist.
Yeah. And the
letterer did do a lot of work. So
the content page is conceived by Jonathan
by
Ball,
the writer and artist.
And it's just like, well, which one is which? If you didn't know which one was which, you would be, you'd have to read it, because at the end of the issue, there is a number of there's a behind the scenes page. There's a coming soon page, and I guess that the creative team make movies as well.
Yeah,
and Jonathan Ball has written a book called "Writing the Wrong Way." Like, where are these people from?
Well,
I know Canada, but
freaking weirdos.
They're coming out of nowhere. It's the strangest thing I've the super pulp science podcast. What? But
apparently Ball began writing the screenplay that would form the basis for this comic on Christmas Eve 2004.
Right.
And according to the artist, The Eye Collector has had a long life before it reached you, as most stories do, which is why all 12 issues were done before you held the first one.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's time to be quiet and just read it. Just read The Eye Collector, #1.
I would agree.
You may not love it, but you have to admit that it's a strange
experience.
It's a strange experience.
I like when Image takes a more of a Fanta D&Q approach.
Yeah. And one thing I've learned is not to trust Scott Snyder, because everything he reads, he seems to love, and you can't love everything, right?
Oh, he's got little raging bullets in him.
I was just going to say, you've never seen Scott Snyder and Sean Whelan in the same room together, have you?
Yeah. But take that with a pinch of salt, that Scott Snyder loves it as well. But like I said, Scott Snyder seems to love everything. The Eye Collector, #1.
The Eye Collector. Nice.
Yeah. Yep. I'm glad you found something worthwhile with the pages, because so did I.
I love that.
That's what's up.
Yeah. You'll absolutely hate with a capital H, the other book that I want to talk about.
Well, you're leaving us guessing because you've got 87 books on your list, so.
Yeah, well, I don't want to talk about it now, but I will.
No, that's okay.
Oh, well, I think I have a feeling I know what it is, but yeah, I am. Well, I mean, just on sight, I already hate two of the books on your list, but only because of how I feel about them. But I'm curious. Anyway, the other first issue that I read this week, I don't know if it was the only other first issue. No, it was not. But one of the other first issues I read this week was one I've been waiting for. Mentioned it when we were talking about Junk Punch. It is also from Mad Cave. It is written by Paul Allor, art by Ermitis Blanco, colors by Brittany Peer. It is Blüdwire, and it was it was a quick read in the sense that things just happened quickly in the issue. There really wasn't any moment to kind of just catch your breath and be aware, get acclimated with your surroundings or I mean, yes, you did get introduced to the characters rather quickly. There's Zora, who is a sex robot, and Ace, who for all intents and purposes we'll just say is its lover. And we start the issue with Ace rescuing Zora. However, in this world, in this future, robots work closely with humans, and there's one particular robot who is a police officer who's partnered with a human officer. The human doesn't last long, so the robot now is in pursuit of Ace and Zora, and the bulk of the issue is that chase, and trying to escape being apprehended. And we get just a little bit of who Ace and Zora are, and kind of there's a they're part of basically a robot liberation front, and so Ace's mission is basically to keep Zora safe from going through what what she did, which we don't know what that is at. But if and she has no problem burning down the entire fucking world to do it. But there's you kind of don't. I guess Zora's feeling some kind of way about robot on robot crime, but again, Ace is just doing what Ace has to do to keep Zora alive, and the first issue kind of just doesn't kind of just end, but it ends with them escaping the officer that was pursuing them, and then we'll be continuing to the next issue. But it felt like a almost like a zero issue, like I said earlier, a free comic book day issue. There's enough here to wet your whistle, but it wasn't necessarily a meaty first issue. I mean, I'm in. It's a limited series. I think it's just 5 issues, and I think it's bi-monthly because the second issue is part of my June order. So and this was solicited in April. So yeah, it's not a monthly book. It looks great. I do like I like Blanco's art a lot. There's the colors are popping because the event mostly happens. It looks like at dawn. So the hues, the colors are great. Background in the sky. I'm like I said, I'm impressed with what Matt Cave has been doing lately. This is really no exception. I've already got the second issue ordered. I will be back for number 2 because I dig the concept of it, and I'm hoping we'll get to know more about these characters and what they're fighting for, what they're trying to do, what they're trying to save, and just kind of maybe learn more about this world. But yeah, I thought as far as the first issue goes, I would have liked a little more, but I got enough here that I got a taste, and I'm coming back for more. What did you think?
I thought it was very good.
Good.
I agree with the most of the things that you said. With I believe rape has been involved, unfortunately.
Yes. Yeah.
And I do not think that Ace is a nice person. I think I'm not saying that she had what she had it coming to her. I'm not saying that at all.
Right.
But she did not have to kill the human beings. But she didn't have to kill them. Yeah, she didn't. She could have wanted them and achieved the same goal, but she killed them. And it's if you want to establish the character as a badass, then with a heart of gold for the robot, then yeah. But I think she's Ace is a killer.
For sure.
So yeah.
And we may find out, why Ace is the way she is.
Maybe she has reason,
right?
To
but
be.
Still, there's.
But I agree with what you said, that it was a very good issue, and Matt Cave continues to impress.
Yeah.
Yep. Jason.
Vincent.
You're awful quiet.
I happen to not have read either of these 2 books, so I couldn't speak to either of them. But you are correct that Mad Cave does continue to impress.
Yep.
I'm glad that the book was what that book was, because I was about to have to reach through the phone and choke Dap when he said that he read a first issue that was more of a zero, because I was like, yo, you better not be fucking talking about the first issue that I was most excited about. I was like,
we can talk about that for sure. I may have some thoughts, but yes.
I mean, so listen, I have 4 things on my list. I think it was all killer, no filler for me. I think all 4 of these, when they're all said and done, could end up being on my best of list at the end of the year. I thought they were all great, legitimately great. But the first issue, probably to no surprise to many listeners, is my much anticipated return of 100 Bullets, the U.S. of Anger, number 1 of 8. Brian and Eduardo wrapped up 100 Bullets nearly, decade and a half ago. And outside of frankly, a relatively forgettable Lono series that they did afterwards, which I kind of treat as like offshoot continuity, I guess. I don't really view it as 100 Bullets proper. But we're back because Brian is an angry dude. He always has been. He's a very political dude. He is a
there's a lot to be angry about right now.
He's a liberal progressive dude. So needless to say, people of his leanings, which are leanings that we all share, obviously, it's been easier and easier to be angry about the state of the world. So he had some things he wanted to say, and he reunited with one of my favorite cartoonists of all time, and I think they're one of the best pairs of all time. And he got Eduardo back on the hook to do some more 100 Bullets. And this book does not fuck around. It is, first of all, and I didn't know this, maybe it was in the solicit, but I might have glossed over it, but it's black and white. Now it's black and white-ish. There are pops of color, word balloon sound effects, blood, but 95% of the book is rendered in black and white ink, directly, Eduardo's direct pen and inks. So poor Grant Golish doesn't get a payday, I guess. I don't know what Grant's up to. Hopefully, hope he's okay. I don't know. My man's probably like, wait, what? I wonder if Grant heard 100 Bullets come back, and then he's like, wait, I'm not in. But whatever.
I wonder if it's just a setup for the first issue, though. I wonder if the rest will be in color.
No, I went and looked after Saw, and it looks like the solicits are that this series is going to be presented in black and white. So I guess that's yeah. I'm not mad at it though. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. So I didn't miss the color, but it did feel a little weird just because 100 Bullets was full color. Listen, this is as politically charged a first issue as you might have assumed it would be based on who created it and the title. We start off with a splash page of a bunch of burning cars in the city, with a Black Lives Matter placard on the ground. The next page is just the opposite, a dude wearing, MAGA-esque like patriotic gear and a flannel shirt throwing a Molotov cocktail at cops. And there's a narration going on, which we then find out a few pages into the narration is a podcast hosted by two neo-Nazis. Who are talking about how America has gone to the shitter. And in between that, you get a case of some young black kids who are looting, basically bashing in windows and stealing stuff from a jewelry store. So all very politically charged and not particularly, could have been any story. Didn't necessarily feel like 100 Bullets, other than the art style, until as the boys are looting the jewelry store, who walks by but none other than Lono. And I will tell you that in that moment of reading this book, I thought, oh no. Because the cover is Lono, and the first character from 100 Bullets we see is Lono. And I thought, oh man, this is like another Lono miniseries. And I'm going to enjoy it. If that's what it ended up being, I would have enjoyed it. But Lono was never my favorite part of 100 Bullets, which is why that Lono spinoff didn't really connect with me as much. So I was, for a second, being like, oh, okay. Now, it's obvious, he was on the cover of the first issue. I'm sure Lono will be a big part of the series, and that's fine. But fortunately, as the issue goes on, we are introduced to other core 100 Bullets characters. So I began to feel much, much better about the whole. There's a lot going on in this book. It is not for the light of heart. There is a kind of a chubby, middle-aged white cop who's got a beautiful young black woman as a partner, and there's some tension there, and they're watching sort of the looting, and through a series of actions, the cop gets killed. So yeah, it's there's cop killing, and again, that's a trigger for a lot of people. There's violence. There's racial bigotry overtones. This book suffers no fools. Throughout the whole thing, Lono is basically encouraging the kids to loot and to, basically says he wants to watch it all burn down, and he's on a mission to start a war. Now, in the beginning of this issue, we don't know if that's just Lono being Lono, like he's working for himself. By the end of the issue, we find out that he is in fact being directed by someone who I'll leave that to people's imagination, but it was definitely had me marking out. It was a gentleman on the phone drinking a scotch, sitting in a beautiful lakefront house, basically telling him, like, you know, keep up with the plan. So there was a lot to feel and see here. We got an appearance of Loop Hughes, who again, another central character from the original series. It's worth noting that this book is set in the reasonable, like, modern times, like, ish. I'd say it's probably more like 2020-ish, 2021, like just post-pandemic, like George Floyd, you know, that kind of vibe, like that era. It's probably a few years ago. But Lono is old. He's wrinkled. He's got white streaks through his hair. Loop is a grown-ass man. You know, he's not a teenage kid anymore. So, you know, again, this is a true, genuine sequel set in modern times based on the world that we're living in. And I was here for every fucking second of it. If you think I'm already not marking off the pages and I'm hitting up fucking Nico about and being like, can I get these? You're wrong. I thought it looked great. Again, I thought like, my only fear about this would have been if it wasn't as hard as I hoped it would be. And based on this first issue, I'd say it's going to be hard. Azzarello is going to have a lot to say, and he's not going to fucking suffer fools. And it's probably going to piss a lot of people off. I would imagine there's a lot of YouTube videos being spun up about what bullshit this is and all that sort of thing. You know, aka woke media, you know, like, and how it's horrible and bullshit and et cetera, et cetera. So I'm here for it. Salute them. Glad they're back. You know, they have done many things together since 100 Bullets. I think of varying degrees of quality. None of it has ever connected with me in the same way that 100 Bullets has. So I'm here for it. You know, probably my only regret will be that it's only 8 issues, but that may be good. Maybe they're going to get in and get out, right? They got something to say. They're going to say it and move on. And I loved it. So Dap, if you're not ready to tell me how much you loved it too, then I'm going to have to teleport.
It's been a fun ride, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, he's threatening you.
I know.
Oh, I'm not threatening him. It's all love.
Right. It's all love. Yeah.
I
mean, there won't be an episode 1042, but it's all good. I don't. I'm not a fan of the chase. I don't. You know, I'm not really in the OA game. However, if I could, and it's weird, if I could score a page from this issue, it would be basically the one-page story where the neo-Nazis are talking, and it starts off with, if you were deaf, if you couldn't hear any of the noise being fed to you about this country, if all you could do was see. And my man says, so it's just the truth? He says, I wouldn't believe my eyes. And that's every fucking person on the right who looks at shit, sees it with their eyes, is like, yeah, no, I don't believe that. Bro, he said it. He did this. This is what actually happened. Yeah, no, it's all fake. So yeah. I love that fucking page. It just encapsulates everything, what I hate and how I feel about the other side right now, because they're so allergic to the fucking facts, and that's exactly what these two dudes are. It was a solid first issue. I thought it was great. It felt like a comfortable pair of jeans, because I know Azzarello's writing. I know these characters, well, at least the few we're familiar with who show up. But as far as the setting and the way these people act here in this story, it feels like 100 Bullets tale. It's not like, oh, they tried to do it again and they fell short, or you can't go home again. No, it feels like 100 Bullets, and that's what I wanted. I'm glad I got that. The black and white it is so, because there's no gray tones, there's no shading, it's black and it's white, and which means the backgrounds in the panels are just white. So the only thing you see in the panel are the lines of the characters and or the shading or their shadows. You've got it's absolutely it hits hard, and which is what I expect from 100 Bullets. And I'm kind of glad that they didn't relaunch Vertigo with this, because then every single Vertigo book after this just would have entered with a whimper. There is
right.
This is what I expect from a Vertigo book, but I'm glad that they waited and they gave us this after the line started, so that it wouldn't overshadow everything else. But it looks fantastic. It's Risso, so I mean that shouldn't surprise anyone. But yeah, just the attitude of the characters, the people we're introduced to. It's some of it might be stereotypical, but that's because stereotypes can be true.
Oh yeah,
and so obviously it can hit home, or you can feel some kind of way when you read it, because listen, nobody likes. Sometimes it's not fun to look in the mirror. So you do. It feels very real world. This is something that I think is coming out at the right time. Sadly, but I would love to say that this could feel like an alternate universe type story, but no, it absolutely does not. And whether you've got the Illuminati or other people pulling strings, that's one thing you can wonder about, or conspiracy theorists then you can run away with. But as far as the actions of the characters in this story are very grounded in reality, and that can be painful. It absolutely sucks that in some ways that this is the world we live in, but it's a hell of a start. And yeah, it is. It obviously he's got a story to tell, and he's going to tell it in 8 issues. But I wouldn't mind having this. Obviously it's weird to say that based on the type of story it's telling, but these two creators, I'd like to see them more than just for 8 issues. But beggars can't be choosers. Sure. I'm better to have loved than lost. But still, there's something special about Azzarello and Risso coming back for 100 Bullets, especially today. But no, this was I keep wanting to say a home run, but I'm going to I'll stop short of that. I don't want to get too hyperbolic, but. I mean, especially from that first page, like you pointed out, with the cars on fire and the Black Lives Matter sign. It starts off strong and hard, and it really doesn't kind of let up from there. So it's a good week for first issues for sure.
Now? I mean, again, I'm obsessive about this book and the art, so I totally understand if your answer is no. But did you notice that? Despite a third of the book being about neo-Nazi podcasters, that there's no swastikas in the pages. It's tons of Nazi iconography or white supremacy iconography, including iron crosses. But there are no swastikas. I have to assume that's intentional. So I'll be curious to see if that continues throughout the rest of the series. But I thought that was interesting, and it makes me wonder, did Azzarello intentionally not want to give power to that symbol? Did Azzarello feel uncomfortable drawing that symbol? It could be any of this. It could be a combination of things. Don't know, but I just thought it was interesting because it's very clear they're Aryan people, right? I mean, they're bald white dudes with iron cross tattoo. But there was actually no swastikas anywhere, which I thought was interesting. And the other thing is, and I wonder how he feels about this. I mean, I guess they're doing it to be funny, but in that page you're talking about that you would love to own or would own if you could own one of these pages. On the laptop that they're looking at the comments, the top one is at Devil Pig, which is Dave Johnson's social media handle, did the cover, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
And again, for people that don't realize, Dave Johnson is a longtime amazing cover artist for 100 Bullets, and he is also on the right side of or the correct side of the political spectrum. So they're not calling, they're poking. It's a sight gag. They're not implying that Dave is supremacist. But it's a little. I was like, oh, I'm like, damn, of all the pages to put that Devil Pig, but okay. Yeah, no. Again, no surprise. I was going to love this issue. I mean, it would have been a pretty stunning thing if I didn't find something to love about this. But I'm glad you enjoyed it too.
Yeah.
I'm glad you liked it.
Aw.
Thank you, Vincent.
Yeah.
I love you too, brother.
Yeah. Dap would absolutely hate this issue. Yeah.
Oh, goody.
It is written. It's another iteration of the Universal Monsters from Skybound and Image. This time around, written by Joshua Williamson, with art by Leomacs.
Oh, Leomacs, great.
Yeah, Pip Martin did the color, and the letter is DC Hopkins. It is the first issue of Blood of the Wolfman.
Why would I?
And you would absolutely hate it.
How many pets does the Wolfman eat?
It opens with it.
Lovely.
It is violent, crazy violent, as is fitting.
Sure.
The subject matter, but it is over the top violent, where you are given adequate time to process. It starts off violent, and then it's kind of I don't want to say is tamped down, but it is very subtle. But once it kicks in, it is violent as heck. It's crazy violent. It's. I think that the mother of the protagonist, whose name is Adam Yeager, who experiences at his first college party some missing time. And he is the only survivor of the party, where he's covered in blood, and his father comes to rescue him, and remembers him cradling Adam in his arms as a baby, and he's in the hospital, and Adam's like, "Dad, you're not getting it. I can't explain it." Where 1 minute I'm me, and the next minute I wake up here, and I'm covered in blood, and I think I did something really, really bad. And the father's like, "Who sells hunting weaponry?" The father pays off two detectives that they just want to ask Adam, what the deal is. One of them is called Morrow. His surname is Morrow, and I'm wondering, because the art looks like Graham Morrow to me. It is Leomacs, so it's great, but
it definitely doesn't look like normal Leomacs, so it must be
right. It's Leomacs by way of Graham Morrow,
yeah,
and it is by far the best thing I read this week. It is unbelievably good. Yeah, but you would absolutely hate it. I think
Is it?
the mother
looks good. I was skimming
Yeah.
I haven't read it yet, but it looks really good.
The mother was Talbot, and there's that name again, Larry Talbot, the original Wolfman, where Adam remembers a mirror in their old home that mirrors, to pun intended, mirrors a mirror seen at the college mixer party. So whether it was planted there or he was fated to kill all these people. Maybe he didn't. He's the only survivor. So I'm guessing that he, in fact, did kill the people. But the art just unbelievably good. It's just incredibly well drawn. That I think you should read it if you're not that. Where the violence, it's about a wolf man. Of course, it's going to be violent, right? What other thing does a wolf man do? He hunts, he kills, right? Larry Talbot, that was the whole mechanism that drove the movies. Was Talbot was a nice guy, but the Wolfman, not so much, not so much. I think it was just so good. I would wish that you would read it, but not. I'm not hoping because you won't.
You know what? Just for that, maybe I'll try it now.
No,
the werewolf, dude. Like we got Werewolf coming out by Robert Eggers later this year. Like about the werewolf, yeah.
Do you think this is? Because I haven't. I may have flipped through one or two, but I haven't read any of them. Is this probably the best of the Universal monsters so far?
Yeah,
published?
yeah.
Okay.
So
probably. I haven't. I've thought they haven't been that good. Honestly, they've looked good. I think they've had a lot of good artists, but I don't. I don't know that because I mean we haven't talked about them much, but I've read them all. I don't. None of them have like grabbed me in like a way that I was like, holy shit, these are great.
I thought that they were at least good.
Yeah,
bordering on great. The Wolfman is a cut above.
Invisible Man was good. The Danny art, I really liked him.
Oh, Danny's great. Yeah. Martin Simmons, I could.
I know. Yeah.
He's okay. He's okay. He should right. He's okay. But story art, like the whole enchilada, is the blood of the Wolfman. Number one. It's really good. Yeah. Yeah. But it starts off pretty rough. Yeah.
Nice. Now, Vince, I want to know, with this fucking litany of books that you read and they're on this list, why have you not read Criminal 5 Years in Reverse yet?
Because I didn't get it yet.
Bro,
I didn't get it yet, but the cheap graphic novel has shipped, and I didn't get it. It's coming in the same box as Right number, I think it's 3, and Tank Chair, whatever. But it's not here. But by all means, talk about it.
No, it's okay, because I think it's a book I don't want to talk about it in detail and then have you read it. We got to talk about this. It's fine. It's fine. We'll wait. The people will wait. Their anticipation will build. The other thing on my all bangers week is similar to in the idea of something that came out in time ago and has been put into a different form, as we were talking about earlier. But this is something I'm not sure I ever expected, and maybe that's part of why I find it so absolutely delightful.
Yeah.
And that is volume 1 of 3 by Abrams, but as part of her Marvel Arts work, and that is the all-new, all-different X-Men Elsewhen, volume 1, written and drawn by the crazy robot himself, Mr. John Byrne.
Yep.
Now, this is a really fascinating project from start to finish. Full disclosure, when I put it on my list this week, Vince was surprised because he didn't realize that it was out in this form. He only knew it in its original form, which is as a once-a-day release on John Byrne's Byrne Robotics forum, which he started publishing. But what is this? Well, it is literally as if Marvel had hired John to pick up the X-Men as the writer and artist right as Jean gets killed and becomes the Phoenix.
Right.
Now, it's interesting. There was a lot of chatter once this was solicited that this was people were saying, oh, this was originally a Marvel project, and then Byrne, they fell through, so he just decided to do it himself. He specifically, in the prologue of this book, this says that's not true. He said this was just something This was never supposed to be something through Marvel. This was pure fanfic. He had an inkling to draw an issue or a page. He drew a splash, put it on his website. He got the itch again, started just drawing pages, putting them on the website. Obviously, his fans seemed to love that. And he just kept doing it for years until it came to about 32 issues of story. And then he said, by his own admission, he just got burnt out and just stopped. But he said it was cool because no one was mad that he stopped. They were just thrilled with what they got. And it was a fun project. And he never once thought it would be published. He thought it was pure fanfic. In fact, he put it in his fanfic section of his forum because he didn't want to have any copyright issues or anything like that. And then credit to Chris Ryall, who longtime comics publisher. He was one of the co-founders of IDW, and then when they sold IDW, he did a couple other things. Now he's the editor at Abrams Comics. Chris has always been a big proponent of John's. Hired him at IDW to do a lot of work, and Chris connected the dots and got Marvel's permission, and then convinced John to put it out in this form, and so we're getting the first of 3 beautiful hardcovers that have this, and this is John Byrne art, but full colored. I think the biggest difference, Vince, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the pages that he shared on Byrne Robotics were his black and white pencils.
Right. Yeah,
right.
blue line.
With digital lettering, as I understand it, with digital word lines in the pages. But this is exact. I mean, there's no like deep discussion to be had about this. This is John Byrne's fanfic, but like it happens to be the fucking John Byrne. So the fanfic, it's him just telling a story of. I mean, I don't think this is a big spoiler because it happens like the first page. The big difference here, the what if moment, is that Jean doesn't die. Right. Jean comes back to Earth, but she's got amnesia, very limited powers. She's back living with her family, and the Phoenix Force is separate from her, and the Shi'ar have it. That's the really like the big difference of that's the butterfly moment, a butterfly effect moment. But from there, honestly, and this I think reprints. They don't say explicitly like because it wasn't ever put out in the like issue form specific, but it's roughly 10.5 of the 32 issues. But from there, like other than that thing that changes, it's pretty much just Byrne making awesome X-Men comics with that team, which for many of us is our favorite lineup ever. And I fucking adored everything about this, dude. Like I was like sopping this up like biscuits and gravy. I mean, I thought it read great. It looked great. My man has still got it. Like, I mean, he started drawing this in 2019, so dude can still draw his ass off. I thought the coloring in this volume looked great. I know that wasn't him, but like, thought it did it justice. I didn't think it was overly wordy or verbose like Claremont stuff is when you try and reread it. And it's like he doesn't have any kind of like deep message. He's just telling stories with these characters as if he was never, moved off the book. There's Sentinels and Shi'ar and the FF and the Avengers and fucking it's Magneto and the Brotherhood and I just adored everything about it, man. I thought it looked great. It read great. The characters seemed true to me. These were my characters. I'm just absolutely over the moon that we get 2 more volumes of this. I think it's wonderful, and kudos to all involved for making it happen. So I know we often say it's hard to go home again, that nostalgia trips are often whack. I mean, certainly when Claremont started doing his thing at Marvel, where he started doing the X-Men right from where he left off, I thought that was really felt uninspired and hollow and made me think you can't go home again. So the fact that Byrne basically did the same thing on his own and it felt great tells me that, kudos to the dude. And it makes me actually kind of bummed that for reasons I'll never fully understand, he just kind of stopped doing comics of any consequence for decades. But nevertheless, I'm here to celebrate what he did give us. And this is fucking awesome. And everyone that's in any way nostalgic for that era of X-Men, which is like pretty much everyone in our age cohort, you got to buy this fucking book if you haven't seen it, if already on his site. And for those of you cheap motherfuckers, you can in fact still read this. It is free if you just Google X-Men Elsewhen, it'll pop up. Byrne's forum is still there and alive and kicking, and he's got each of the stories in issue form with hot links. You can click and read each issue if you don't feel like putting out the shekels, but I prefer this version for sure.
I'm glad that you said Avengers and FF, because John draws everybody.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my man. He drew my Beast, and it's my Beast. It's the Beast. He drew Beast.
Yeah,
fucking Simon Williams, fucking Cap, Scarlet Witch.
Wolverine's in the right outfit.
Wolverine's in the correct outfit. It's great.
No,
it's incredible.
It's Byrne, so he's nuts. But
and he didn't letter it, so that's a plus. That's a massive plus. He didn't letter it.
Yeah, and it's the I don't know whether or not, because I haven't seen it totally inked. I've just seen the pages on John Byrne's site. So I haven't seen the book that you're talking about yet. Whereas Byrne tends to get a little sloppy when he inks his own work.
Yeah, it's inked by a gentleman named Paul Wills.
So it's clean.
It's very clean, and it's colored by actually a bunch of colors. Laverne Kandersky, Leonard O'Grady, Ruth Redmond, Carlos Lopez, and Pat Rousseau is the letterer. So yeah,
nice. I've read the entirety of the 32 issues, but I've read them as Blue Lines. Yep. So I'd be very interested to get the hardcover, if for nothing else than to see the original. Well, my favorite X-Men in action again, the FF again. And not to spoil it for you because you haven't read past issue 10, but it goes places. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I'm over the moon with this. Again, it's fascinating to me that like this kind of thing exists, and that Abrams is putting this out, not Marvel. But I'm not mad. It's not me in the boardroom negotiating all these deals. I'm just happy at the output.
Well, if you don't look at the cover and you figure it's a Marvel book, it's a Marvel book.
Oh, and to be fair, on the side indicia, on the dust jacket, Marvel is up at the top, right? It's Marvel, right, then John Byrne, then X-Men Elsewhen, then the volume number, and then Abrams comic arts. So Marvel's getting their piece of the pie, no doubt about it.
Yeah,
but either way.
And we're getting our piece of the pot as well, because this episode has been brought to you by cheapgraphicnovels.com. cheapgraphicnovels.com. Check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/11 o'clock comics. 1 no apostrophe. We have 3 tiers: $1, $5, $10. That's it. With the dedicated Slack channel. We'd love to have you. And what am I forgetting? Leave us a review. No matter where you listen to this, leave us a word review or a star review or both, or just leave us something, because the algorithm matters. And to keep the tag team rolling, I thought Angel Travels by Concrete Stars Over Sand #1, written and drawn by Paul Chadwick. What is this book about? Well, it suffers no rules, because Chadwick expects you to have read the entirety of Concrete. It starts off assuming that you are up to speed with this book, where such is not the case. I had to open the previous miniseries and the one before that in order to just to get myself reacquainted with the world, because it's been some time. But what is this book about? In essence, it's about digital technology and how it's killing the planet. You may disagree with me, that's fine, but there is a point where concrete is enveloped, Ron, it's enveloped in the desert, whereas he is immersed, he's struck by lightning, okay? And he's immersed in sand, and time slows down. They're a crawl. And not to spoil it, but that is Chadwick saying that we should, as a culture, slow down. Take time. This social media shit is killing us. We're missing out on. It's a dire predicament for Ron. Well, we get it, but it's just the first issue of, I believe, 5.
5, yeah.
Yeah. So there's the surface story, and then there's the aspect of symbolism. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that this is Paul saying, hold your horses, slow down, because you're moving way too fast. What do you think?
I don't disagree. I think I am not as well versed in Concrete's world as you and Jason are, and while I'm familiar with the character, the concept, as Jason pointed out previously, it would behoove a person new to Concrete to look for those old trades. Because you are dropped in as their life is now, and I definitely missed something. I missed a minute because I was unaware of the child. So that was a neat revelation for me. But yeah, and again, I mean, if you're a new reader and you're just checking this out for the first time, then that's cool, because as one of the 3 old heads on this show, my first issue of X-Men wasn't number 1. My first issue of Fantastic Four wasn't number 1. So we all, back in the day, we picked it up and ran with it as it went, and then that's what back issues and editor's notes were for. But yeah, there is more. There's subtext here. There's more than what you're just going to see on the surface. Chadwick is good for that, and Concrete is a great vessel for that. And there is more here than just what's than what you would just see on the page. I don't disagree as far, and there's definitely, I mean, he's encased in stone, but there's absolutely the human elements hit you in the face, because there are moments where, if not to this degree, but he wants to, he takes a walk because he's got a speech to deliver and he wants to make sure he nails it, and he can't do that at the campsite. He goes to take a walk, and so I definitely get where Ron is coming from in certain areas, but yeah, it's nice to come back to this character, and even Chadwick's work, his line work, it's a bit, I mean, it was established and well done years ago. There's a growth to it now, and a lot more shading, a little bit thicker lines here and there, and which is nice. It's fitting, it's fine. And by the time I get to the end of the issue, I'm concerned. I'm a little worried for Ron, and it's I mean, even though on the cover tells you, like, basically you have to get through 20 odd pages, but right on the cover it says lost, lightning struck, amnesiac. He looks at his hands, which is odd because they're covered with stone. So I mean, you're already getting kind of the end of the issue right there on the cover, but getting to that, Chadwick does a great job of setting the stage, and which could be a theme for tonight's show, considering everything we've talked about. But no, I mean, even, and the colors are great too. The colors are vibrant. They're I thought it was a great return. I thought it was a great first issue.
Another example of someone that still has it. It's like, oh,
yes.
he still got it. It's like, God damn. And then it makes you like, as a fan, it makes me like, bro, like, why haven't you been giving us your glory? But like, and I said that as a fan, like, I don't like. In the honest thing is like, live your best life. Like, I hope Paul and his family have had an amazing life, and he just hasn't felt artistically inspired to make new comics, and that's fine too. But like, I'm just grateful that he's back for however long.
Yep. You take a look at it. Maureen and Larry are traumatized, but different degrees of trauma. But the kid's in a coma. Like, things aren't moving.
Right.
They're staying stagnant. And Ron is trapped in sand. From that's all I could get out of it. I could be wrong. I probably am. We'll see. But again, just to see Paul Chadwick artwork, Paul Chadwick artwork, is crazy to me. Where he could have winged it and just did, whatever. I don't want to downplay Hellboy, but he could have done a Hellboy thing, a Lost Tale from,
of course,
but he didn't. He's continuing the story, and I think it's incredible.
In his letter at the end of the issue, he speaks, which I thought was really interesting that he actually expressed this, that he said when he was sitting down to write the story, he knew that the child, which unnamed, but was appeared in the last series, The Human Dilemma, and he knew he had to acknowledge it, but he realized, and this is so fascinating because it talks to you about like where Paul now is in his life. He said that he figured out that he had to keep the child unconscious to tell this story, because how could anything else matter once he's awake?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, in order to tell the story he had in his mind, he had to basically find a way to keep the kid off screen, because if the kid was fully functioning, then to him, how could he not be the center of the story? And that just speaks to, like, a person who's been through parenting and parenthood, right? And like how much your life I mean, at least for most of us that aren't, that don't abandon our kids, actually, like, like how they do become in many ways the center of your life, even though it's important to find balance. But like, I just thought it was interesting for him to acknowledge that. And then he said that Diana Schutz, his editor, told him that like he had to add stuff in to make it clear that like they weren't abandoning the kid. Yeah. Because the way he was writing it, it seemed like he was abandoning the kid. And I just thought that was fascinating, like that those little touches, and that it's also cool to see him acknowledge like the editor as a value add in a process creatively, right? Because we often kind of feel like the only time we generally speak of editors is like as a pejorative, like, oh, it must be editorial, and it's good to be reminded that some of these creators, even the great ones, have really awesome relationships with their editors, and the editors do provide value. So,
right,
and it always
when you're talking Diana,
right?
Oh, of course,
it's not hard.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Because I mean, it's aside from Paul, of course, obviously, Matt Wagner also speaks very highly of her. So I mean, for various reasons, but she's absolutely a person you want on your side if you're if you're making a comic, without a doubt. Nicely done. That was a good pick.
Yep.
In your travels, I didn't mean to go back to this series after talking about the 7th issue a couple weeks ago. And I still, even though we hung out with Tony, I didn't get to talk to him about his story. But Twilight Zone number 8 is titled Hollywoodland, and your writer and illustrator is Gabriel Hardman, with letters by Jeff Eckelberry. And I'm not going to go deep onto this. It is this definitely feels like a Twilight Zone tale, and it doesn't necessarily end on a major downer. It's still a Twilight Zone story, but it's not I have all the time in the world to read and your glasses break type of ending. So there's the Russell Colton is an actor. He was in the movie The Attack of the Claws in 1959, and he absolutely, now in the present day, there's an interview and after a screening, and he absolutely hated this movie. He did not like his co-star. The leading lady was not. She's just not. He didn't care for her at all. People kind of joke that the movie, you look at it now and how campy and how bad it was, and they don't necessarily mock Russell, but they're like, did you know when you were making it at the time that it was just like so bad, like it was, like I Come in Peace. But it's one of those things where you've got this podcaster who's trying to chase down Russell because he has questions. He wants to, he'd like to. It's all about the process. He wants to talk to an actor from back in the day, and he's extremely kind and complimentary. But Russell's like, listen, how much does a podcast pay? And he's like, well, no, it's not really. That's not. It's we don't really have a budget for it. He's like, oh, well, they're not. And while Russell's walking his dog, Martha, and Martha gets away while he's walking her and heads towards a movie lot where there's a giant lobster on the back of an animatronic lobster on the back of a pickup truck, and as Russell keeps walking onto the sound stage, he's basically transported back to 1959 and the making of this movie, and when he sees his younger self, and he wants to talk to himself and explain, like, listen, this is a bad movie. Like this is a disaster. Run away from this movie right now. And younger self is just like, yeah, dude, you gotta leave me alone, old man. Like, I got shit to do. Like, I'm making a movie here. So he calls security, and the security is escorting Russell off. And Russell's like, no, I gotta get my dog. And that's when his leading lady shows up with Martha, and they have a cute little exchange, just a quick little chat, and then they go about their day. And he realizes that this is the day that they were going to the beach to film a big scene. And he's like, okay, so I'm going to go take care of it. And he makes his way to the beach, basically trying to wreck the movie while it's being made. And things don't go according to plan. And that's where I'm going to leave it, because from that point on, things change, and whether and in the Twilight Zone things could change for the better or not. So I'll leave that up to you. Gabriel did a fantastic job. Of course, it's set in Hollywood, so I mean that's not surprising. It's at least not a story about a storyboard artist, but it's neat to see that he focused on a movie from back in the day, tied it into kind of a present day tale, and it looks great. The black and white looks amazing. We all know what an amazing illustrator Gabe is. This was a fun issue. I haven't read every of the Twilight Zones. They're all done in ones, but they've had some fantastic creators working on them, and I think Jason may want to check out number 9, because not only is it well, I'm not going to say anything about the story as far as the solicit goes, but it is written and illustrated by Juniba.
Oh, nice.
So
Nice.
Yeah. So in your travels, Twilight Zone number 8.
Respect. So I'm gonna be quick on my inner travels. I maybe like 2 months ago now, Dap had mentioned that he went back and jumped back into Absolute Superman, if not connecting with the first issue or two, and that he read it once he gave it another go. And that sort of inspired me to attempt the same thing with another Absolute book, which we all haven't talked much about, and that is Absolute Green Lantern. Yeah, I have to say, first of all, if I will get up front, one thing that I think is a worthy criticism of it is after the early arcs where Janoy Lindsay is the artist pretty much throughout. There starts to be more fill-ins, which again is fine, I guess. But like she's I think they've drawn like 1.5 of the last 4 issues, which like I prefer that because Absolute's on such a heater, and like so much of it is that there's this combination of this really powerful, consistent visual voice. But that's a minor quibble. But overall, I'm glad I jumped in. I really had no good reason for not reading this as it was coming out, other than I just don't generally consider myself as big a Green Lantern fan as some of the other Absolute characters, so it didn't feel like a priority. But this is super interesting, and it's like I think the better Absolute stories. This is a fairly large departure from what we think of when we think of Green Lantern, but with these echoes of familiarity that just kind of tickle our fancy. The biggest difference here is that all of the, well, not all, but the majority of the Green Lanterns that we've come to know are all friends and neighbors in a small town when this series starts. And there's an incident where a gigantic Green Lantern spaceship that looks like Green Lantern symbol crashes in their town. It basically destroys half the town. And Abin Sur comes out and starts essentially judging all of the people of the town and whether they're worthy. And so you've got Hal and Joe and John Stewart and Guy all living there, just as ordinary citizens. And so it's got a very different feel in terms of the origins and that they all know each other. So I thought that was pretty interesting. The other interesting thing is that Josh Williamson, or I'm sorry, Al Ewing rather, completely reinvents the lore. Like he gets rid of the space cops and the oversight and like the structure, and it's basically almost more of like a religious iconography now. Where like things like Abin Sur isn't the name of the alien for the sake of it. It's actually like a religious term. Abin meaning users of the light, and and then Sur meaning like leader, right? So it's like, and he establishes that the different colors are like Sur is the green color and it's for correct actions. Black is Quard, is chaotic action. Red is Rao and it's for restraint. Yellow is Hour and it's for enlightenment. So just a really interesting take, almost kind of playing off of a Buddhist polytheistic kind of a vibe, which I'm here for. I think that's really smart. And it was a very interesting quick read. Like I read 16 issues this week in 2 sittings and completely gripping. Very much a fan of Lindsay's art. Not as much a fan of some of the fill-in artists, which is why I started with that as a criticism. But overall, art's solid as you'd expect with an Absolute book. But I'm here for it. I think it's really entertaining. And then as the course of the series has gone on, we've met other characters that have played key roles in Green Lantern, Kilowog and Mogo and Tomari and Sinestro and Jessica Cruz and Boz and like Simon Boz. Like they're all making appearances along the way in different, some in somewhat familiar forms, others in different forms. So yeah, really fascinating stuff. So kudos to Absolute for another very interesting book. So in your travels, check out Absolute Green Lantern. I can say definitively it's much more entertaining than the current DC Green Lanterns, in my opinion.
Okay.
All right.
Excellent.
Do yourself a favor and say good night. David, give an easy one.
No, you did. Good night.
You basically reproduce what I said.
David.
Yeah. Nail on the head.
Boom.
We'll be back next week. Be here.
Show.
Faux show.
That's it for that one.